We have your Sunday night reminder. You have a chance each and every Sunday to be a part of the Blitz. You're just one text or social media post away from being a part of the show. On Twitter, or now X, reach us using the hashtag OKBlitz. Connect as well on Facebook, News 9 Sports and News on 6 Sports. And best of all, to vote on play percentages later on the Blitz, text Dean or text John to 79640.
All right, here we go. Dusty joining us to break it all down. It's no secret, OSU has less talent than Oklahoma, but more playmakers. And despite OU winning 17 of the last, 21 now, Mike Gundy and OSU walk away having won 2 of the last 3 and feeling really good. And here are a few of the reasons for that. More confounding decisions on the move from its own 3-yard line. OU calls a flea flicker gadget play. Seldom used Barnes, not ready for the direct snap, tries to hand it to the quarterback. Rolling with momentum and likely to score 3 or 7, the unnecessary turnover helps OSU take it and go score and take a 14-7 lead. OU's lack of success with gadget plays is glaring. More time management issues. Ollie Gordon stopped with 42 seconds left in the half. Call timeout, call timeout. OU has 2 left. But Gordon rolls around injured and a 10-second runoff. OU content to trot off the field down 3. Incredibly, OSU is the one that gets off a Hail Mary, as the lack of aggressiveness from OU, I think, sends a bad message to the offense and the team. Details mean a lot. OSU trails early 4th, 3rd and 5 from the 5. Was there a push-off there of Owens to OU freshman Vickers? Maybe not. But worst case, it is a no call. But defensive pass interference is called, compounded by the head coach drawing another unsportsmanlike penalty, self-inflicted. Discipline starts from the top. 4 OU penalties on that drive. Instead of having to punt from its own end zone, the 30-yard gift helps OSU take the lead. And then the controversial no call that will live in Bedlam infamy, at least for Oklahoma. Clearly, Stoops is tackled in the end zone. Textbook blatant interference. Incontrovertible is the word. Go ahead. TD wiped away, and Stoops says he actually caught it. Good news for OU is starting next year, no more Big 12 officials. The bad news, instead of playing OSU Central Florida, OU squares off with Bama and LSU.
A lot of people will, write this team off, and I believe in our guys. I believe we can win them all out, but we can lose them too. We don't have much of a margin for error.
It hurts, it stings right now, but we're not going to change our approach. We have a process, and we trust our process. And so going back to work tomorrow and putting the game to bed.
All right, report card. Offensively, D. OU would be undefeated if not for committing 3 turnovers in consecutive losses. Scored just 24 points against a really average to poor statistically defense. 9 games in and still no offensive identity. Defense, C. No Stutzman's a killer. They contained Ollie well. Allowing 27 is enough to win, but unable to finish with the lead. C. Nothing dramatic in the special teams. And with a clear roster advantage overall, given OU an F. OU just cannot lose that game, simply.
I believe F is failing, Dino. Look, it was a rough loss, there was no doubt, and I was right there with a front row seat. Let's take a look and see what transpired throughout the course of this ball game. I'm actually start with some positives. I thought the defense in the second half gave them a chance to win. Opening 3 possessions, the first, a stop there by Robert Spears-Jennings. Here's another on the second possession. Mike Gundy finally was aggressive against Oklahoma, and he rolled snake eyes. And then, boy, Ollie Gordon's got to eat this football, but it's well played by Billy Bowman down the field. You get 2 turnover on downs and a takeaway first 3 possessions. That's a defense setting the tone. But mistakes, mistakes, mistakes. Yet another missed field goal by the kicker. That's 4 of the last 5. No confidence later throughout the course of the game with their ability to kick the football. And, man, I tell you what, Dylan Gabriel, this pass here to Nick Anderson, missing this pass, that was a 3rd down and a huge opportunity. I don't know why to start the second half. You're throwing in a double coverage after you just had a 15-yard chunk run to start the second half. Just doesn't make sense. The 3rd of the turnovers, bad ball, bad snap, and it gives Oklahoma State the football and field goal range. Your defense still held, but you gave up the field goal. Now, look, was this an egregious pass interference? Yes, but that's not the reason they lost. They got the ball back with a chance to win it, and on 4th down, they don't even run the route to the sticks. Everyone's going to talk about the non-pass interference call, but Oklahoma, they made too many mistakes, were too sloppy, and as Dean said, too undisciplined to win this football game. Was it a bad call? Yes. But was it the reason Oklahoma lost? Absolutely not.
And there were other bad calls or non-calls that OSU
both ways
could have. Yeah,
there's a lot of.
You think it was 50-50, the calls?
I don't know. I know the one with Stoops might have been the most obvious.
But if you think that was 50-50,
well, I don't know,
might
Dean.
disagree for the first time in 20 years.
The face mask they missed on a Rashad Owens catch, they could have flagged Ethan Downs with both of them standing out of bounds on the return.
Gotcha.
Okay?
OSU deserved to win. Let's be clear about that.
It has been a simple formula for the Cowboys during the 5-game win streak. A heavy dose of Ollie Gordon and a clutch late-game defense, and for the most part, it worked again. And the atmosphere at Boone Pickens Stadium was off the charts. Now, no one figured that Gordon would once again go for more than 250 yards on the ground. The Sooners held the standout running back to less than 3 yards per carry on 31 of his 33, but the other two was a 20-yard touchdown to open the scoring and a 35-yarder in the second half, and he finished with a hard-earned 137. And Rashad Owens was targeted early and responded with 10 catches for 136 yards. Defensively, the Cowboys gave up 492, but once again made some big plays when needed. The delayed blitz by Nick Martin in the second half, getting to Dylan Gabriel to force an interception deep that freshman Dylan Smith came up with, ending that OU threat. And the fourth down stops just keep coming. 2 more late, including Smith, keeping Drake Stoops from that first down to effectively end the game. During the win streak, the Cowboys have become a very strong second-half team, and the home crowd made a difference, likely affecting a fumbled snap that Cody Walter-Scheid recovered. And then later in the fourth quarter, Colin Oliver's pressure leads to this Anthony Goodlow sack, and somewhat hidden in the streak has been quarterback Alan Bowman's consistent play, throwing the ball away instead of forcing it and leading the offense, scoring here. Afterward, Mike Gundy was asked if he took a little time to savor the win.
I wanted to be able to see the Oklahoma State people enjoy it. I want the players to enjoy it, and so I wanted to see a little bit of it. And then it got a little, I'm a little bit claustrophobic when it comes to that stuff. This is a game where guys have to play and disregard their body to injury. And so that when they get rewarded like this, they need to be able to enjoy that time, and I did it I did the same thing. I enjoyed it.
Obviously, we can't come out next week tired or sluggish from over a big win, right? We got to refocus and come back in next week because we do have 3 good opponents left.
Report card time. B for the offense, 480 total yards with only the Ollie Gordon interception on that trick play, and they were stopped twice on 4th and short. Defense is a B+, came up with the 3 turnovers and 2 fourth-down stops. Special teams, B+. Alex Hale, 2 for 2 on field goals, and coverage units were solid. Overall, though, it's an A, and the crowd gets an A+. A lot of pressure to win this game, and they found a way.
It was an incredible atmosphere, as you talked about. It was an awesome game in that final chapter of Bedlam. Let's take a look from the Oklahoma State side of things. I thought the game plan overall by Casey Dunn to come out and put the ball in Alan Bowman's hand was fantastic. Rashad Owens had 3 receptions on that opening drive. And how about Brendan Presley out in space? This opening drive, big 26-yard gainer, really set the tone to let you know that Alan Bowman was in a rhythm. He was confident, and he was going to be making throws down the field. And how about this offensive line? Watch the protection and the time. He's popping around like a bunny back there and locating open targets, giving his receivers time to catch the football. These throws came on the 97-yard drive that gave Oklahoma State that fourth quarter lead that they never were able to relinquish. So it was great passing as well as excellent offensive line play. And speaking of excellent, Xavier Benson was all over the field. 3 tackles for loss, the sack and fumble. He actually left this game because he was injured, but he was a one-man wrecking crew on this football field. The emotional leader really stepped up. And how about after the interception, Oklahoma with a chance to really give themselves a big-time lead. In the game, it was Oklahoma State with another stop, forcing a punt, and then obviously the big 4th down stop to win the game, and the party was on in Stillwater. And just a huge, huge turnaround continues for the season for Mike Gundy, from where they were to now in the driver's seat to get to Arlington and winning that last Bedlam. Unbelievable story that Mike Gundy and this team is writing.
They were really good on 4th down, not just this game. They've been good all year.
1 of 12. The last 5 games in this win streak.
It's crazy.
Incredible.
It's crazy. And they practiced a lot, extra practice time on defending 4th downs in practice. It's paid off. Now, TU seemingly had just what the doctor ordered heading into last night, trying to snap a 3-game losing streak, facing Charlotte, 2-6 on the season, with a number of players suspended and not traveling with the team. Instead, the Golden Hurricanes saw the losing streak move to 4 as the 49ers rallied from a 17-0 deficit to win in overtime, 33-26. Kevin Wilson played his 4th quarterback of the season. True freshman out of Metro Christian, Kirk Francis. After Cardell Williams was injured late in the first half, TU managed just 139 passing and was whistled for 10 penalties. Wilson still searching for answers.
Too many mistakes, might be the personal fouls or the holding penalties or block punt, missed field goals, some things in one possession game that get you beat. Enough plays that an undisciplined team, and that's our team, that's my team, and I got to take responsibility for that. We're just not playing very good ball.
Offensively, report card C-, 273 on the ground. Francis thrown into the fire, but too many penalties. Defense, C-. That lead just was given up. They gave up 431 yards. Special teams, a B. Chase Meyer forced OT with a field goal, was 2 for 3. And overall, it's a D. Had a good chance to snap the streak, but couldn't hold that 17-point lead.
On deck, we look ahead to this Saturday's opponents. Dusty is ready also for his Devora checklist. We'll be right back.
Report Card is sponsored by your Oklahoma Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Oklahoma.
We're back with our Blitz viewer question. College basketball revs up tomorrow. Kansas is at the top of the coaches' preseason poll in the Big 12. Oklahoma State 10th. The Sooners are 12th. Question here from Johnny in Tulsa. Guys, how do you think Oklahoma and Oklahoma State will fare in men's basketball this season? Dean, we'll start with you and the Sooners.
Oh, I don't know how high the ceiling is. It might be more stooping down. But Porter Moser enters his 3rd season. He's got 6 transfers, 2 scholarship freshmen. He says they'll be very good defensively, and he's added a lot of athleticism, be more fun to watch. But to be honest, he inherited a thin roster, and OU's lack of competitive NIL resources continues to hamstring the coach.
Well, the Cowboys have 9 new players and more skilled. They've got more shooters. They really focused on getting some 3-point shooters. Starting point guard, backup point guard right now. A couple of new guys are both out with injury. One may be back for tomorrow night's opener against Abilene Christian. Should be a lot of fun to watch offensively, and the defense is a work in progress at this point.
Well, back to football. OU opens as a 12.5-point favorite. They are hosting West Virginia, which means nothing. We've learned that. Interested to see how many quality players will be out to injury. Might be a lot. West Virginia is good. They're coming off a 37-7 blowout of BYU. Expect once again an OU opponent to show up really hungry under the circumstances and poor play in 3 straight games. Question is, how will OU come out? Will they be fired up? Well, the Mountaineers are 6-3, 2 losses to top 15 teams, Oklahoma State and Penn State. The other was a Hail Mary loss to Houston. They racked up over 550 yards against BYU, 336 on the ground. Quarterback's good. Garrett Green ran like crazy against OU last season. They'll beat OU if the Sooners are not ready to go.
They need to be. Look, West Virginia is a veteran football team. They are tough and physical in the line of scrimmage. Let's go to the DeVore checklist. What Oklahoma needs to do to get a win. Get after Garrett. That is Garrett Green. He had a $119, 2 touchdowns on the ground last year. He's only been sacked 4 times all year and twice in Big 12 play. Better get after that quarterback. Number 2, Sooner security. And I'm talking about ball security. 6 turnovers in the last 2 games. That's losing football. They got to take care of the football and get back to being plus in the turnover margin. And then finish the fight. They've had back-to-back leads to start 4th quarters. On the road in Lawrence, on the road in Stillwater, and the other teams finish. If Oklahoma has a chance and has West Virginia down, they need to finish the fight and win the ball game.
Well, it sounds too cliche, but it's true. The Cowboys face a real trap game. UCF in Orlando, the Knights have sold the game out. It's their annual, it's not only a trap game, it's the space game, special uniforms and everything. And since quarterback John Rice Plumlee has returned, they've been dangerous, just losing in Norman and then to West Virginia before snapping a 5-game skid at Cincinnati. Running back R.J. Harvey, a threat as well, 169 on the ground with 3 TDs on Saturday. Thank goodness it's not a night game. It's a 2:30 contest in Orlando, Dusty.
All right, let's get right to it. What's it going to take for the Cowboys to keep this rolling in Orlando against UCF? And the DeVore checklist tells you it's Gordon's ground game. Shocker, I know. 6 straight 100-yard games. This UCF run defense is porous. I think Ali has a big day. How about harass Harvey? Speaking of good running backs, R.J. Harvey, he's been excellent with 4 straight 100-yard games of his own. Tackling him will be a big key for the Cowboys. And then block out Bedlam. You got to put that win behind you. Can't have that hangover. You heard earlier in the piece from Alan Bowman, that is very real. You can only enjoy that win so long and get on to business and take care of it there in Orlando.
The Golden Hurricane go back on the road this coming weekend. TU with that 4-game losing streak and injuries and issues at quarterback, and now they face another top 25 team, Tulane, in New Orleans, 11 a.m. Saturday. The Green Wave barely edged East Carolina 13-10 on the road and have had problems protecting second-half leads. Well, that wasn't until yesterday. They're in a 3-way tie for first, unbeaten in the American.
All right, predictions, scores. I don't know about this Oklahoma game. I really don't. Sooners 31-28. OSU's only a 2-point favorite over a UCF team that's coming in off a win, as we've been talking about. Looking for Ollie to cut it loose. Pokes 31-21, and Tulane, I'm afraid, is too much for Tulsa, 41-24.
I'll go Sooners 35-24, bounce back at home. The Cowboys, it's going to be close. It's going to be a testy one. Oklahoma State wins 34-30, and then finally, Tulane, too much for Tulsa, 35-17 in the Big Easy.
All right, Dusty, thanks very much. Game on starting tomorrow. We take a look at the college basketball season openers for the local teams. And Dean and I play those percentages. And yes, we have a USC question waiting to be answered.
Games left in the regular season. Percentage chances Oklahoma State wins out and lands in the Big 12 title game. John.
It will not be easy, Steve, because of what this first one's really going to be tough here. But because you've got 3 of the newcomers and they've struggled against the other regular league opponents, I'm going to say 60.
Yeah, I'm in that same ballpark. I think they'll do it. And I said before the Bedlam game that the winner had an 85% chance. So, I mean, I feel pretty good about it, but I'm at double nickel, 55%.
What's your temperature check on the Sooners right now? Playing 4 close games in a row after blowing out Iowa State and Norman. Percentage chances they will win their final 3 games. Dean.
I think this one this week is really a challenge for them. And then BYU, even though they're not playing that great, they are physical and they better be ready there. I think they'll handle TCU. I'm saying 33%.
I'm going to go on the other side here because I think they're going to find something, rediscover something here. So I'm going to say 75.
Texas hangs on yesterday, staying with 1 loss in the season. Percentage chances Sark and company make it to the college football playoff. John.
I going with 35 here because there's still some things. I mean, look, we're just in the beginning of November. I wish I had a better handle on Texas.
You know, I'm going with 98%. But they're just better than everybody that they'll be playing. And a 1 loss after beating Alabama is going to get them in.
All right, some quick answers here. He doesn't have a 30-point game through 6 games. They're coming, though. Percentage chances Cherry Young scores 30 or more against the Thunder tomorrow night. Dean.
Precisely 57%. Not 57 points, but 57%.
Precisely 30%.
All right, back to football now because we love it. USC 7-3. Remember, they started the year 6-0. Percentage chances Lincoln Riley finishes the regular season at 7-5. They finish at Oregon, then at home against UCLA. John, quick.
40.
They won't win this week, 52.
All right, we need an answer. Text us right now. Text John or text Gene to 79640. We asked you out there for a winner, and you have delivered. Will it be John or Dean for PTP? Close.
My
close.
goodness.
That's fitting. That's fitting. I will end it by saying this. Oklahoma needs to ensure that Jackson Arnold takes the first snap next year, whatever it takes.
Thank you, Oklahoma.